position. Time to think about 1 minute 30.862. That's what they have to beat. That time belongs to Oriel Serbia.
Bachelard, team owner of Conquest Racing, you have a new driver in your car, someone that we really enjoy in the series that you brought back, Nelson Philippe. How is it having him in your car?
Well, I mean, it's great because, you know, we have a very close relationship together. We know each other for many years. We've been working together for 2 seasons. And to have him back, it's something very natural and something that we wanted to do someday. And so we're doing it now. And in Surfers Paradise, where he won a race last year. So, I mean, it's a good story.
This is his first time, though, in the DP01. What's it going to take for him to repeat? Nobody's done it, and we know he's new to the car, but can he pull through somehow?
Well, yes, of course, yes, it is possible, you know. I mean, we need a bit of luck because we have to realize it's a bit of a challenge, you know, to start the season with Nelson here for the 13th race of the season. So it's his first start. He needs to understand the car a bit better. We have only a single team operation. So, you know, we have a few negatives against us, but we have a great relationship and we know each other well, and he knows the engineer. So, you know, I think we can do well. We found some good stuff this morning in practice. And so I think we can have a good qualifying.
Great, thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.
At least he's easy to spot, Nelson Philippe. The bright pink helmet, the Juniper sponsorship on the Conquest car number 34. Matt Halliday actually drove this car for the first 3 races of the season, and we saw Matt in the V8 Supercar Championship throughout the Enduros. Jan Halen did the next 9 before Nelson got back in. I actually spoke to Nelson at the official launch here about a month or so ago, and he said to me, you know, it's been really hard because I know that when all these guys come back, I know that I can win there. Plus, he spends a lot of time here with his girlfriend Sarah Buller, so he sees the track every day, runs the track every day, and it's all fallen into place. It'd be big expectations to ask him to come out and win this after spending almost 12 months out of the car, but he's got all the right attributes to do it, including past form.
And he's such an interesting story as Nelson Philippe. He first jumped into the ChampCar World Series at the age of 17, having only done 1 full year of car racing, really thrown in the deep end. A lot of people thought it was a bad move, but essentially Nelson grew up and all of his racing experience has come behind the wheel of a 750 horsepower ChampCar. And last year, at just the age of 20 years and 2 months, became the youngest ever winner right here on the streets of Surfers. And he improved just so much over those 3 seasons that he did in ChampCar, and was really a regular podium contender last season for Minardi Team USA, who at that time had really taken a leap in form. I mean, Nelson was was one of the catalysts to really get that up to a front-running team. So, you know, it really was a remarkable story, and it was quite tragic to not see him get a full-time ride this year in ChampCar. But all that's now behind us. He is back behind the wheel of a ChampCar, 1 year on from his first win, and he's hopefully this is a prelude to him getting another full-time ride and being a regular contender again.
His best time out there has been a low 1:33. We're expecting the pole sitter time to be 1:30s.
I'm gonna predict a 1:30.5.
Graham Rahal would like it. Our Big Pond in-car camera on car number 2. So the first real time posted belongs to Bruno Junqueira. It's a 1:34. This man had a great battle with Simon Pagenaud in the Atlantic Series last year. To finish second, he won a season best 5 races. And at just 18 years of age, steps up into the big league. Hardly a turn, is it?
It's unbelievable how little steering input goes into the car and how vicious and aggressive it looks from inside the cockpit. And I assure you those drivers are really getting tossed around. It's so hard to be precise.
He's heading towards a mid 1:33 here.
Probably get down to the low 133, struggling to get the power down, the back end just stepping out. A 133.2. He's now dived straight into pit lane.
One of the interesting parts of ChampCar racing is this. This is the alternate tyre with the red sidewall. All of the ChampCar drivers and teams have 2 sets of these tyres to use this weekend. They have to use both this and the black sidewall tyre in the race tomorrow. Some drivers used their red tyres yesterday, but because of the 2 red flags with 2 incidents with Sebastien Bourdais and Alex Tagliani, they didn't get the best out of them. So some teams have used one of their red set and only have 1 brand new red set left to run in this qualifying session.
Bruno Junqueira is setting good times, but the other car out of Dale Coyne Racing, Catherine Legg, has spun it around at turn 3. She's been down that road before, and that will harm the lap. Will it harm the lap time of this man? Because he's really moving. The 2004 winner here. 132.3. And now it's better, 132.1, but we'll have a red flag situation with Catherine Legg off at turn 3. It's pretty much the way it always happens in these qualifying sessions. There's a lull, it all happens at once. Somebody will set a fastest lap time while somebody else is going off.
Bruno, you want 5-time lap?
And then you have to dive in and catch your breath again.
Yeah, 5-time lap.
She's really not had the best of weekends so far as Catherine Legg, and you know, this red flag, this is going to cost her her fastest lap in today's qualifying. That is the rule in ChampCar. If you cause a red flag during the session, then you're going to lose your fastest lap time. There's also obviously been a penalty to Dan Clark for causing that red flag in the warm-up. That meant that he was going to lose the first 8 minutes of qualifying, so he'd have to sit in his pit box for the first 8 minutes. And we've had just 7 minutes and 15 seconds so far. So after this red is clear, he will be free to go. Neil Johnny also had an 8-minute penalty for the practice spin that he had this morning. So a few drivers who have yet to turn laps, but we'll get to shortly.
Well, Bruno Junqueira is starting to set the pace. Another pause in qualifying. You get the feeling the pressure and the temperature is starting to rise.
Stand by, starter. Green flag, green flag.
Oh, off they go again, but I reckon there's some drama in here, and they're all shouting out along pit lane. Justin Wilson's crew especially was saying that these guys all dived out too early.
Maybe utilize some shortcuts to get some distance.
They were given a short starter's command, then a green flag, but at least 2 or 3 of the cars had already jumped out into pit lane.
Go for it, stick it in there. Didn't do it. Well, that's interesting because technically I believe the rule is you simply cannot leave pit lane until the track is green. So if those guys were already rolling but did not leave pit lane until after the green flag had flown, they might be all right. I know in the Atlantic Series, we had a slightly different rule. We had to follow each other out, but we're getting word from race control now. There are no penalties, so it was just a matter of timing and trying to get track position from PKV. A little bit of strategy there, but you know, well played on their part. It worked.
Take every inch you can get. Justin had 16 starts in Formula One for both Minardi and Jaguar. Alongside Mark Webber for a while. He's one of the fascinating characters. 29 years of age, born in Sheffield, England. One stage early on in his career, sold shares in himself. You could actually buy stock in Justin Wilson and cash it in later on if you like. As his career grew and grew. The Formula One dance finished for him, and he made the transition onto ChampCars. Will Power grew up in Toowoomba. Formula Holden champion in 2003. He just loves the feeling of these cars. Very down-to-earth character, very quiet. But he has a real racer's attitude.
See Will Powers on his red sidewall Bridgestone tires, the softer compound. He's going to be going for a quick lap.
Down turn 3, a short chute facing directly towards the beach. The WPS turn. Now up the Esplanade, 280 kilometers an hour. Left, right, through the S's, skim it past the wall. Virtually nothing against the time of Bruno Junqueira.
It doesn't matter how many onboard shots we see of that section. I just cannot get over how committed you have to be and how much curb that these guys are taking. Oh, big sideways out of that corner for Will Power. And he's now 0.02 of a second up on Bruno's time.
That's Will's regulation move, his signature move, I reckon, out of turn 8. The softer compound tyres. Brings it to the right-hand side of the circuit, the Gold Coast Highway. It's a 1:31.723. He's got another second to make up on that if he wants to knock Oriol Servia off pole. Let's stick with him again. So close on the left-hand side through turns 1 and 2.
Was that something on track there? Did you see that? Maybe I'm imagining things, but that was a mega third sector from Will Power's tires, probably just getting the temperature of the second half of the lap. So this one should be on the money. We'll see what it is as we come to the first sector here.
47.1 was the last time around, 46.5. That's 0.6 of a second quicker.
In the first sector alone. I mean, he still has 2/3 of the racetrack to go. He is on course for a very quick lap time. This could be threatening Oriol's pole.
Remember the last time around, I said if he can drop a second off, he will take over from Oriol Servia and in pole position. Right now, he is on the money. Big time. If he can hold it together. Round turns 10, 11 and 12. Could this be the lap that once again makes the local boy the man to beat? Will Power does a 1:30.692, and that right now is good enough for pole position.
That was commitment to the max. Every inch of road on every piece of this racetrack. He was just so close, and he's not done. Matt, he is still flat out heading through this second chicane now. He wants even more. He doesn't want to just get pole. He wants to get it by such a margin that nobody can even come close to threatening it.
And everything's falling into place, Hinch, because he had that track to himself. There was nobody around him. And once again, it's a game of tennis. Whack, back over the other side. Sebastien Bourdais, this is your turn. The last time Power put pressure on the Frenchman put it into the wall. That was earlier on in the session yesterday. But Bourdais has a lot of time. He's circling up for this one. He's got a lot of time to make up. 1:30.692 is the time. Last year, Will Power collected pole with a 31.40. What a lap.
Watching on intently down here in pit lane is Dale Coyne, who's the man who owns Dale Coyne Racing. One of the teams that's been in ChampCar racing for many years. It's the team that has never, ever won a race in the ChampCar World Series. Bruno Junqueira has been seeing some solid times this weekend. Catherine Legg is the second driver for that team. But this is a team, I guess it's the Minardi, really, of ChampCar racing. They've come really close this year, and Bruno Junqueira knows how to win on the Gold Coast.
Bruno making his 100th championship start this weekend. Here's Ray Hall. Check out the tyres. You can see the red walls. He's on the softer compound. Next bloke to willpower on the list is Paul Tracy, who's done 7 laps, done a 1:31 flat. So he's 0.4 of a second off the time. Graham Rahal is down in 12th before this lap.
But just remember, even though that Paul Tracy, as Graham crossed the line 9th, is sitting second in the times. Last lap of his run. But even if he does, as Paul Tracy is sitting second in this session right now, provisionally on the grid is going to be starting 3rd because Oriol Servia grabbed that pole position yesterday. He gets that guaranteed front row spot. The worst that he can start is 2nd place. So you watch Dan Clark about to finish a flyer. 0.3 off after 2 sectors. This is going to be a good lap for Dan. Up to P5, not quite so quick in the 3rd sector. Mario Dominguez is 6th right now. Sebastien Bourdais is in 4th, just ahead of that pair. Oriol Servia, our provisional pole yesterday, is 8th. Robert Dornbos 9th. Graham Rahal now down to 10th.
Speedy Dan. And again, Bourdais spends more time in the pit bay. Cooling device there. He's pumping in some cold air into the cockpit.
Hey, we need a diff adjustment. We need a diff adjustment. We don't have a ton of time.
Back we go to Clark, who's just been shuffled down to 6th. So the order, Power, 1:30.6. Tracy, 1:31. Then Wilson, Bourdais, Junqueira, and Clark.
I just got word from the PKV camp that Servia may be in trouble. The guy that I just talked to after the practice session this morning that felt so in control and good about the setup in his car, he said he's having some engine problems. He's not sure what it is, but he did just radio that that he's having some engine problems.
Okay, so Oriol Servia with 11 minutes remaining. If he's having engine problems, won't be the man to attack back, but still guaranteed front row.
Well, it just makes his pole from yesterday all the more impressive and all the more important, especially if something happens on Saturday in qualifying. So we know he's got a quick car. They can get that sorted, and he'll still have a decent shot at a good finish in the race.
Well, willpower going to lock it up again. He's got a nervous 10-minute wait, but he's delivered the time that counts. Tens of thousands of people right around this course, right around Surfers Paradise, as we go on board with Nelson Philippe. Now Shannon's onboard camera are trying to stop biting their nails and see if Will Power's time, 1:30.692, can be beaten. The Juniper Soul car of Philippe has done the 14th fastest time. 9 minutes left.
As good a driver as Nelson Philippe is, to be thrown in 13 races into the championship like this and the series this competitive, a very, very difficult situation for him. He crosses the line unable to improve on his time.
The last one for him was 1:34.
Just got word that Oriol Servia has been fueled up, and he is now heading out for a 5-lap run, so hopefully those engine woes are taken care of. Let's see what he can fight back with against Will Power.
He saved his best to last yesterday.
And again this morning in practice.
Yep. The form line for Servia has just been mind-blowing, considering he's just jumped straight back in. The second fastest in practice Friday, first in qualifying Friday, and first this morning in practice.
Down here in the Newman-Haas-Lanigan pit where people are in a bit of a panic. Sebastien came in for a bit. They did some big changes to the back of the car. Obviously, I got no word on what that was, and they informed me that I wouldn't get any word on what that was. But Sebastien just peeled out, and hopefully everything is fine.
So too is Bruno Junqueira. Dale Coyne Racing, Sonny Barbecue's car.
I mean, he's on a bit of a roll as Bruno. He's come off 2 back-to-back podium finishes for the 2 European rounds of the ChampCar World Series. This team only has 4 total podium finishes in its history, so he's doubled the amount of podiums that this team has got in the last 2 races. And I spoke to Bruno, actually, when the 2 of us were on an A1GP test in England, and he said to me, he said, James, I am going to win in Surfer's Paradise. So he's actually currently sitting 3rd at a 131.2. He's certainly in a good position right now, very competitive. He's really helped this team find some speed this season.
He's had 2 front row starts here. 2002 and 03, and then the following year he won the race.
Just let Oriol Servia by him. Servia looking for some clear track time. Oriol actually one of the only other guys to get a podium for Dale Coyne Racing back in 2004. So he is on his red sidewall tires, the softer of the 2 compounds that Bridgestone brings. He's going to be coming around to start a hot lap. Engine problems early in the session for Oriol, but pole sitter on Friday. He's slowing up to get a good run out of this last corner. Try and get to full throttle as soon as possible. Cosworth XFE engine screaming up to 12,000 RPM as he goes through the gears and starts this qualifying run. This is his one shot with 6 minutes remaining to knock Will Power off pole position here at Surfer's Paradise. Oh, and traffic through the first corner. Dan Clark. Now, ChampCar will be looking at that. Blocking and holding up a car in qualifying is an offense that you can be penalized for, and that most certainly is going to cost Oriol a bunch of time.
I think Clark tried to get out of the way as soon as he realized by then perhaps it was too late.
Yeah, certainly not intentional, but it could have affected him nonetheless.
Servia has a look around. Jimmy Vasser says, what's going on? And that's the fine line that you play. When you set yourself up for a flying lap, everything else has got to go into place. And it's going into place yet again for Will Power. A little bit of a lockup coming into turn 11. But he's given himself a green box. Can he lower that time to 1:30.692? He's already done it. He's done it again. 1:30.657 from Power. Can they stop him from pole? You'd have to say no.
And I know the gap there was only 3/100ths of a second. You may say that may not make much of a difference, but think yesterday, Oriol got pole from Will by 3/100ths of a second. So every 100th, every 1,000th counts in the ChampCar World Series. But again, Will Power is not done. He is on another flyer.
True to form, he's going back to back. Centimetres to the wall on the right-hand side. He's touched it with the rear right. On the exit there of turn 4.
And he's not backing off.
This is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Half a second quicker. The question is, did that contact do any damage? There's only one guy to watch on the track right now, and it's the local boy.
Half a second in sector 1. If he can complete this lap, even without gaining anything, so committed through that chicane, down into turn 8. Right to the wall, still half a second. This is the textbook definition of a committed lap on a street circuit. You have never seen anything like this, and so rarely will you. Everyone else may as well pack up and go home. Look at the commitment from Will Power as he crosses the line, oversteer on the exit to the wall.
And there's another one. That's an insane lap. 1:30.3. Will Power surely will lock in pole position for 2007. And if he's going to lose it, it will have to be the most mind-blowing lap that the other 16 drivers can gather together with 3 minutes remaining.
And this is going to be the guy who can do it.
I need a couple more 10.
It's the last lap for Oriol Servia. He is currently P2 in this session, half a second off Will's time. So it is now or never. There is 2.5 minutes to go in this session, but as we heard on the radio, he probably only has enough fuel left for one lap. Sebastien Bourdais is also circulating. He's currently 6th on the overall timesheets. Very unfamiliar territory for Sebastien Bourdais, 3-time ChampCar champion. This is what it's all about. 4/10 down in the first sector. That's not going to be enough, and he shortcuts the chicane. The Barnacard S's, he gets it all wrong. In turn 5, has to cut the track. That lap will not count.
Well, the game is on between Power and Oriol Servia, and now Paul Tracy's bought into it. He's done a 1:30.65, so he's 0.3 of a second. 2.5 of a second, in fact. Close to the time of Power. It's the last dash again. Servia has drifted to almost 2/10 out. In the second sector, did he make it up? No, it went further. Amazing to think that Sebastien Bourdais has had his hands full since the very first session. He sits down in 6th. Servia from 3rd. What about Tracy now?
Here we go. We pick up the Forsyth Championship Racing entry. Car number 3, the Thrill from West Hill.
Well, Justin Wilson has just done a 1:30.5.
Will Power lowered his time to a 1:30 flat. He's gone 0.3 quicker. This is unremarkable stuff. I thought after watching that on board with Will, any sane driver would have parked his car. Thought he would have gotten everything out of it that was physically possible. But this man has done even better, and he's still pushing.
This is incredible. Absolutely incredible from Will Power. Only traffic can hold him up on this lap.
Oh, get out of his way. Who is this? It looks like it may be one of the Pacific Coast cars. That is so unfortunate. It is. It's a Pacific Coast car. It looks like it's probably Mario Dominguez, and that's just brutal. He was a 10th, 1.3 tenths up on this already unbelievable lap time of a 1:30 flat, half a second clear of the field.
Now he'll be blowing up.
Your P1 right now, there's 24 seconds left.
The good thing for Will is that he's put that time down, a 1:30.054, and he will be exhausted when he gets out of the car because that was a maximum go.
Just mentally.
Seconds ticking down. The nearest guy is Justin Wilson, a 1:30.586. So we've got a checkered flag, but who's still on the flying lap? Paul Tracy is. He's 3rd on the list with a 1:30.653.
The 2003 champion. He's only less than a 10th, 0.03 of a second down in the first sector.
This is going to be really close.
It's like we said earlier, when Paul Tracy's happy, he is devastatingly quick. And he's definitely been on the pace this weekend. A little bit of oversteer out of corner 8. Ooh, 0.3 down, nearly 4 now. It's going to be tough to make that back up in the last few corners.
It's drifted out.
This could jump him back ahead of Justin Wilson, the 2nd in the session. That would still put him 3rd on the grid because of Servia's pole yesterday. And here we go across the line.
Second on the time sheets.
Good job, Curly P2 with just Sebastien out there.
Which means that has him 3rd at the moment, but I think Wilson has delivered another time. And Sebastien Bourdais, 0.2 of a second outside Will's time. He's the last man on the track. He's the last man who can stop him.
And he goes P3. So this Will Power, he takes it. 2nd year in a row. Only the 4th man to take more than one pole position. A hug there from Dave Faustino, his engineer. Great job for these guys.
Will Power, 2 poles in a row on the Gold Coast. Tell me about being held up by that lap car.
Yeah, I don't know what Dominguez was doing. It's just in the way, but whatever. We got a lap time. We're up on that lap, but it was good enough for pole.
You didn't look to be content to just get one time there. There was more in the car.
Yeah, mate, I just kept going for it. I did not care. I wanted to get pole, and we knew we had the car a week, and this was a session to be quickest in.
You don't reckon Craig Gore's heart's just gone firing at his chest at the moment?
Gorey, I know you're watching, mate. There you go, brother. We just got to win the race. I'm not getting too excited now because remember what happened last year, but I want to do it tomorrow.
Now, this is all really good, though. You've got to get your head into race mode now. You'll celebrate with Team Australia this afternoon. What do you do tonight to get ready for the big one tomorrow?
Yeah, mate, we're just going to have a debrief and have a think about what strategy we use tomorrow and just try to get a good night's sleep.
Standing start too, big issue here on the Gold Coast. It's the first time it's ever been used here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we've been reasonably strong on standing starts, so, you know, it's just something that's out of our control. We've just got to try to get it right tomorrow.
Go and enjoy it with the green and gold.
Cheers, mate.
Oriol Servia, a little bit different look on your face after this qualifying session from yesterday. Talk to me about what happened out there.
Well, I mean, obviously you want to be on pole, so and we had a great cut in the morning. We just couldn't put the lap together. I had a good lap at the end, and I just lost it in turn 5. So, I mean, this is what it takes, a perfect lap to be on pole. But, you know, car was still great, so I'm feeling good for tomorrow. We're starting front row, so it's all good. It just, you know, you always want to be the fastest out there, but we'll get it tomorrow.
What will you do tonight to prepare for tomorrow?
Just not much, just a couple of changes just to make the car a little more easy to drive for the race. That's what you want, and that's what we're going to do.
This morning's practice session, you said that you felt like you were in control of this car despite the fact that you don't have the pole necessarily. Do you still feel like you have control?
Yeah, we just, you know, we tried to make the car a little faster for qualifying, and we made it a little more edgy. This morning was definitely easier to drive, so that's what we want for tomorrow.
All right, thanks a lot, Oriol.
Thank you.
Oriol Servia will start from the front row of the grid. This man will start from position 1, the 4th pole of his ChampCar career, the 3rd for season 2007. And just an amazing session where he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I cannot believe, Hinch, that lap where he tagged the wall coming out of turn 4 was still a pole-sitting lap. And then he came back and did it again.
Twice. He did it 2 more times and was on course for another fast one. It's just, honestly, the amount of commitment you saw from Will Power on those laps was unrivaled, and that's why he was the quickest guy out there. Nobody quite put in that much effort and that much dedication, and he's rewarded with pole.
So this is how they finished for the qualifying session. Will Power 1:30.054. That, by the way, is almost exactly a second quicker than he did to set pole here in 2006. Tracy finishes 2nd, but with Oriol Servia guaranteed that front row start. Paul Tracy will start from 3rd in the grid. Sebastien Bourdais is going in the right direction. He's heading upwards on the list. Tagliani Dominguez, the former winner here, and Nelson Philippe, the 2006 winner, will start from down towards position 14. Craig Gore, we know you're watching at home. He's done it again, mate.